No, keep going.
In a 2015 study, psychologist Julianne Holt-Lunstad found that loneliness is a risk factor for high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, stroke, and depression. An oft-repeated fact from the study, loneliness is as bad for you as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
For the past 2 decades, my research has focused on how our relationships influences our physical health. In recent years, the U.S. Surgeon General has described this as a loneliness epidemic.
You may have heard about something called a third place, but what is it really? And why does it feel like so many of us are longing for one without even knowing it? Let's talk about community, capitalism, and what it means to be human. Quality of life is closely related to our surrounding environments. By providing spaces for public discourse and interaction, third places can contribute to a more engaged citizenry. So, what is a third place? The first place is your home. The second place is school or work. But the third place? That's the one that's got everybody talking. The third place is the social space, the place you choose to go between the others. Sociologist Ray Oldenburg coined the term in 1989 in his book, The Great Good Place. In it, he says that third places are locations that facilitate social interaction outside of the people you live or work with and encourage public relaxation. These are places of community, parks, spaces for recreation, relaxation, and community gatherings, libraries, hubs for learning and public engagement, community centers, gathering points for programs and activities, gyms and fitness studios, places of worship, spiritual and social anchors, and friends' homes. Yes, those count too.
Because we have different functions in our life, and so much of our home, we're doing private functions, we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of our families, we spend a lot of time sleeping there. And at work, there is often a kind of a hierarchical structure to it, where we've got responsibilities, but we don't control the place.
Think of a time before smartphones and computers, when people gathered just to listen to others speak, orators sharing ideas and exchanging thoughts, words, and visions.
The loaf of bread, I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock them upside the head and take the bread from them. I'm not going to starve to death.
Studies show that third places improve psychological well-being, reduce isolation, and even support physical health. They strengthen democracy, creativity, and civic life, and most importantly, they combat the epidemic of loneliness. In unassuming neighborhood staples like coffee shops, hair salons, and malls, people meet to socialize, express themselves, be seen and see others in return, and support one another. These third places enrich social interaction. They strengthen our sense of community and belonging outside of the home and workplace. Yet, third places are closing across the United States. Americans may be losing access to key services, goods, amenities. But we're also losing the community sites that help buffer against loneliness, stress, and alienation. One especially interesting study comes from a team of public health researchers who investigated the link between third place engagement and mental health among the adults in the US. Published in 2025, the study focuses on over 1,000 rural Americans between the ages of 18 and 64, a population with elevated risks of social isolation and suicide. The researchers looked at something they called third place use, defined as going out to public places outside home or work and interacting with others there. They compared this with the participants' self-reported mental health status. The results? People who regularly went to third places and actively socialized there had significantly better mental health outcomes than those who did not. In other words, Folks who left the house to meet friends at a cafe, chat with neighbors at church or the pub, or join group activities at the park or library, they tended to report less psychological distress and more positive well-being than people who stayed home.
We have so much research now on the benefits of having a regular place that we go and we meet people and we get to know them over time. And then it's also good for the community because, of course, when we participate in something like that, other people benefit from it as well. And we create a more robust social network in the areas where we interact.
Notably, the quality of interaction mattered just as much as the act of going out. Simply being there in a third place was beneficial, but engaging with others amplified the effect. Those who both visited third places and connected, whether through conversation, group activities, or even a smile and a wave, saw the greatest mental health benefits. That's because third places offer space for both strong ties, like meeting close friends, and weak ties, casual chats with the barista, a familiar face at the gym, or the librarian. All of it contributes to your support network. All of it nurtures belonging. The researchers call third space involvement a modifiable lifestyle factor for better mental health, meaning it's something we can design for, like diet or exercise. Think of a world where pills aren't the first suggestion for mental health. Not to knock medicine, there's nothing wrong with healing yourself through medication and clinical care. But maybe there's a world where those things meet, where the antidote to so many mental health issues includes something free, timeless, and beautiful: community. More research backs this up. In 2023, a study looked at young adults during the COVID-19 pandemic, a time when many third places were suddenly off limits. It found that the forced closure of third places was directly linked to deteriorating social connections and worsened mental health outcomes. In fact, the strongest predictor of mental health decline? Frustration with being restricted to virtual socializing. Zoom isn't the same as real life, and when coffee shops, gyms, bars, and libraries shut down, people's sense of community shrunk, and their loneliness spiked. When those places reopened, people reported feeling better, more grounded, more supported. That tells us something vital. Rebuilding third places helps repair our social fabric. This isn't just about young people either. For older adults, third places are often lifelines. From senior centers to diners to faith-based spaces, having a local third place expands their social support and keeps them integrated in community life. Now, let's talk about why third places just aren't really present in American society anymore. Third places used to serve as our communal living rooms, where we could bond with others, belong to a neighborhood, and become regulars in each other's lives. Now, public health experts talk about social isolation as a serious health risk, and social connection as a protective factor. But third places? They're the physical infrastructure we need to build those connections. When communities invest in libraries, parks, plazas, youth centers, and coffee shops, or create hybrid models like library parks and community gardens, they're investing in mental wellness infrastructure, though it may not feel like it. We talk about living in food deserts, but what happens when someone lives in a third place desert? Using data from the National Establishment Time series, a database with microdata on more than 60 million businesses, researchers asked this very question, and what they found raised concern. Because when third places disappear, so does access to public services, affordable gathering spots, and casual community-oriented joy. We're also seeing a steady loss of public funding, libraries closing, youth centers being defunded, community hubs vanishing from city budgets entirely. All of this reinforces a dangerous idea that these places hold no value in our society. But the truth is, we need them more than ever. Urban planning plays a role too. Across the US, we're surrounded by unwalkable spaces, especially in urban and suburban settings. We've designed cities that force us into cars, making us less likely to stumble across conversation or connection. Suburban sprawl, endless parking lots, highways without sidewalks. They disconnect us not just geographically, but socially. Social identification with the people in your neighborhood has wide-reaching benefits. In fact, previous research shows that residents who feel a sense of identity with their community experience better mental health. But here's the issue. We're only just now beginning to design interventions that intentionally build this kind of social identity, specifically for health reasons. We've built cities that separate, isolate, and privatize our lives, and now we're trying to reverse engineer belonging. Meanwhile, mobile-first businesses are quietly changing how we interact. Think Starbucks drive-thrus, fast, efficient, transactional. But there's no, hey, how you been? No lingering with a newspaper, no seeing someone you didn't plan to see. These are the quiet shifts that erode third places without us even noticing. The spaces where we could once feel part of something disappear. A TikToker once said, we need to ask ourselves, how does capitalism benefit from our loneliness? From our fear of inconveniencing the people we love? Take Uber, for example. It thrives on your desire to get to the airport without asking your family or friends. Sure, it's convenient when no one's available, or your plans change last minute. But what happens when it becomes your first choice? Uber loves that. They want to be your go-to. Why ask your mom or dad to drive you when you can just hit a button? Why bother your friend who lives out of the way? She'd have to drive half an hour past her house to get to you. Better keep it simple. Low stakes, no guilt. Let a stranger take care of it. But here's the thing. Inconvenience is part of what it means to be in a relationship. It's part of what it means to be in a community. And we're slowly being conditioned out of that truth. In a capitalist system, most people don't have the time to see family, to maintain friendships, let alone create and nurture new ones. It's hard to make time for people when you're working multiple jobs, juggling irregular shifts, commuting, caring for family, cooking, grocery shopping, doing laundry, all at once, every day. So what gets cut? Social time. Not because we don't want it, but because the system doesn't leave us much to give. And when time is limited, free or low-cost public spaces for socializing become vital. But those are vanishing too. So now busy social lives are becoming a luxury, something increasingly reserved for those who can afford them. We're often told to solve this by improving our individual habits. Manage your time better. Make socializing a priority. Join a club. Follow up when plans fall through. These tips aren't wrong, but they individualize a collective problem. The reality is there are only so many hours in a day, and most of those hours are eaten up by labor, leaving little time and even less energy for friendship. Years of cuts to local and council budgets have made things worse. Youth centers, gone. Free programming, slashed. Join a club sounds great, but where are those clubs supposed to meet? Loneliness isn't just an emotional issue. It's physical. A nearly 80-year Harvard study found that the biggest indicators of lifelong happiness and health are family, friendship, and community. Not money, not fame, not even clean eating. Relationships. If we want a less lonely society, we have to put human needs and human relationships at the center. Psychologists say we don't even need deep friendships to benefit from social connection. There's value in everyday casual interactions like chatting with the barista, waving to someone familiar at the park, exchanging a joke at the corner store. And that's what third places are. Low-pressure social outlets, spaces where simply being around people lifts your emotional state. Because time isn't just money, it's connection, it's possibility. If we reclaimed even a fraction of our time, we might finally have space to be more than our labor. In a society where so many people report feeling cut off despite digital hyperconnectivity, third places offer a real-world antidote. They are inclusive, welcoming spaces that pull us out of our bubbles and into human interaction. The 2025 Rule study we talked about, it proves that something as ordinary as meeting friends at a local diner or saying hi to neighbors at the farmer's market can measurably improve your mental health. The solution to loneliness isn't high-tech, it isn't complicated. It might just be about creating more opportunities for people to gather, talk, and share experiences in everyday places. Strengthening third places and making them accessible to people of all ages, backgrounds, and incomes could genuinely heal social disconnection. It could improve our collective well-being on a broad scale. There is a path towards a reimagined society, one where we actually look after and protect one another. A reimagined America, one with parks full on the weekdays, local cafes doubling as community centers, rec centers hosting dance nights, local band shows, fashion shows, robot competitions, or chess tournaments, public transit that actually feels public, greenery that is not only beautiful but restorative and beneficial to the environment, more benches, more murals, more color, more public art, more joy. Not just spaces that exist. We were never meant to live this disconnected. Third places remind us that the cure for loneliness is in each other.